And we are live. Apologies for the delay. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning from Australia. I'm David Starlyte. This is the David Starlyte Show. And please do like and share so everyone knows we're online. Facebook has not managed to go live for whatever reason. It says it's been deleted. So I don't know what happened with Facebook. So that's just the issue. Some kind of Facebook issue. I don't know what's going on Facebook. So we're just having that Facebook issue. So we're just live on YouTube right now. So please do like and share. Marianne says good morning. Good morning, Marianne. And yeah, I'm not able to get on Facebook. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on, but it just is how it is. All right, I think I may have just managed to go live on Facebook. Hi, Kim. Welcome to the show. How is your week going? Happy Tuesday. It's all going on, and welcome to the show, and great to see everyone. Great to see you, Kim. How are you? We're back on live on Facebook Live, so everything is moving once again. So the gratitude link is below. During this broadcast, you can support my page by sending stars, a digital gift that helps me to earn money. There is a booking link at the bottom for private sessions. I'm happy also to engage with people on social media for insight, intuition therapy, transformation, coaching. What else do I do? Intuitive coaching, therapy, meditation, and transformation. Lots of Asians. Kim is live, and Andrea is live. Hi, Andrea. Welcome, hello, my spiritual brother and family. Wow, Andrea, hi to my family. And what a beautiful thing to see on my screen. Thank you, Andrea. It's almost like coming home. And, for so many of us, we feel a bit disconnected. We feel a bit alone in the world. And especially star seeds have this kind of disconnection of like, what is this world? What am I doing here? What is my purpose? Why am I here? And where are my soulmates? Where are my friends? And everyone has different experiences, but often people have that feeling, and then they look up at the stars and they realize that is their home. They see the stars, they see their home, they see their past, they see their destiny. So there is a coming home, looking up at the stars and realizing where we come from. I think everyone is a star seed, at least in some way. We all come from stardust. We're all made of the beautiful stardust. So please do like and share just to let the algorithms know we are live. I'm glad to see we're back on Facebook, which helps. We're live on YouTube. We are streaming live from Australia. I am in Far North Queensland, in Port Douglas. I'm not sure if anyone's heard of Port Douglas. It's a small town along the Great Barrier Reef, and little boats and little yachts and little, what else? Not much else, just a few boats and a few houses and a couple of resorts, and that's it. Carla says hi and welcome to the show, Carla. She also says hi, Debbie. And Andrea says, YouTube, this is the best channel. And is that for me? Oh, okay, to help your algorithm. Thank you, love. YouTube, this is the best channel. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. So what do I actually do, Andrea? What do I do with that? Because that's like a link. YouTube, this is the best. Do you go on that? And Carlos says, how are you? I'm doing great, Carlos. I am waking up. It is a very warm day, humid, sunny. It's very nice. We had various incidents of crocodiles here. So the last week, there's been quite a few crocodiles. And I think the big thing was that the crocodile landed up in the swimming pool, and everyone is pretty, they filmed it, and everyone is pretty like, what? So crocodile in the swimming pool of a major resort. That's the major resort of this town that kind of put the town on the map. It's called Sheraton Mirage. And in the swimming pool, they found the crocodile. A lot of guests walking around, they didn't believe it was real. They thought it was a joke. Well, I got to tell you, that crocodile was as real as chalk. As real as can be. Kim says, I had a dream that describes what you said about looking up the stars in the black night sky and the universe. It's really extraordinary I always had a fascination with astronomy and those places where you look up at the stars. What are they called? I can't remember. You know what I mean? And I was like, this is just the most extraordinary thing. And really, people living in cities often don't see the sky like it used to be seen because of all the lights of human beings. Go back 100 years or 1,000 years, and we would have had an Earth that was just pitch black at night, and you would have been able to see everything up in the sky. Color says, same here. It's cold. So it's already October and it's cold there, Carlos. I guess it's heading into autumn. You're heading into autumn, Carlos. In Florida, the swamp puppies, aka gators, are found in the pool. They like the pool, do they? They like the water, Marianne says. Kim says, how did the croc end up in the pool? So the pool is basically quite near the beach. And so the crocodile so they swim across the sea. They swim across, they breed in the rivers, but the rivers like sort of crossing the ocean. So the rivers feed into the sea. So they'll skip, from one river to the next river. So they do swim across the ocean. They swim across, or they walk along the beach. And so this crocodile probably was living in a river just, a mile away or whatever. Lived in the river, and then it just was like, oh, I'm going to go look for another friend or go socialize down the other river. And so it was just exploring a bit. So it would have swum across land, been on the beach, walked along the beach, and then the swimming pool's, very close to the beach. So like maybe for the crocodile, like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, I don't know, 3-minute walk for the crocodile, and saw the beautiful water and was like, great, I'm going to have a swim. I love the water. Butterfly says, hope you're well, looking good. Welcome to Butterfly. Great to see you on the show. Well, I got to say, I had a little procedure this past week. I have had, so I'm a little bit hypnotized. I feel like I'm sleeping, half asleep, half awake. Crocodiles are very interesting creatures. Butterfly says, well, they do have this incredibly hard skin, and they've all these teeth. I think that if you look at, there's places here where they have the crocodiles, and it's a little bit sad when you see, in a way, like they sell them in shops, and it's like, that used to be a living crocodile. Now it's a piece of glass or whatever they do with it. It's embalmed, or I don't know what, they stuff it with plastic or whatever, cover it in plastic and clean it out or something like that. So they sell these things in the shops, and it's like crazy creature. Wow, it is pretty crazy, Butterfly. Very interesting. I wouldn't like to meet it in a dark alley. So how are you, Butterfly? How is everyone? How are you, Carlos? How is it all going, Marianne? You have a different what's it called? Nomenclature. I don't know. It's called a different name. Carlos, same here. So it's I have a couple of teddy crocodiles. I love them. So that's really cute, Butterfly. there is like a farm over here. I went to the farm and with the crocodiles, like a crocodile farm where they have all these crocodiles, and it's just amazing energy to be there. But I had a nightmare that night, to be honest, and I'm not planning to go back necessarily. Butterfly, they're pretty scary creatures, So yeah, they're amazing. You look at them and you admire them because they just sleep a lot and they can move really quickly though, and they're quite clever. They'll just sit around waiting for days, weeks. They'll watch things, and they're very cold-blooded though. But interesting, the reptiles and our relation to the reptiles. We are relatives, and we've got a reptilian brain, so we've got something there. But I prefer mammals, butterfly. I definitely prefer the mammals. I like the warm-blooded creatures. And I've got two little animals with me now, gazing at me. Butterfly says, absolutely fabulous. Marianne says, it's a thing associated with YouTube. YouTube assigned it. So what do you do with that link? Or do you go, is that a website or what is it? I'm just looking at that previous link. I think, Andrea, you shared it. YouTube, this is the best channel. Like, what, you go there? And Butterfly says they are intelligent. Yeah, they certainly are intelligent. So this little one, he may not be so intelligent, but he's warm and he's sweet. I don't know how intelligent he is. It's an interesting one because they found, I read recently, that dogs are losing their intelligence by living with human beings. Dogs are losing their they're losing their brain power because they live with human beings. And you think about their life with human beings, and a lot of the time they just sort of play, or they sit around. But the actual intelligence is required for hunting. That requires a lot of intelligence, often a lot of craftiness, a lot of really thinking, well, how am I gonna do this? So when you take that out of the equation, they get a bit late. Animals get a bit lazy, and it's I used to think it would be different. I used to think, dogs must be becoming much more intelligent living with human beings because they're learning language and teaching them things. But then apparently not. Their brains are getting smaller. We feed them all the time. They lie around, they play, and they're not getting more clever. Marianne says, not sure. I wish I understood. And Butterfly says, our furry friends are great companions and very healing. And I've got two right here, Butterfly, and they are just chilling out. They're very sweet, and they have such a good energy. And I'm very fortunate to have the furry animals. Aren't they? They're beautiful. And so we're just picking a card for the collective energy, raising up our vibration. It's so important with the world as it is that we are light keepers, light workers that are here to raise the vibration, if nothing else, just by our mere presence. It's not that we have to always do something. Don't have to always do something. We can also be. Yes, they have a lot of positivity. So the card, interestingly, and I think it's related to the technology. So the lesson today that's been shown to me is the importance of earthing, of learning how to be in the world but not of it. To be a human being is not to be led by what's happening in the world, but to be led by our heart, to come back to compassion and learn what it is to be a human being. So the challenge for everyone incarnated right now is having a human experience. Who's having a human experience is to be in the world but not of it. To realize our souls having a human experience and to be fully conscious of it, to have their soul fully embodied in their body. People's personalities tend to relate to either transcendence or immanence. Those who lean towards towards transcendence have a longing for the heavens and the mystical. So this is exactly what we were talking about. Having a longing for the heavens and the mystical, the stars, yearning for a personal experience with the Creator, with God, with the universe, and could get lost in the heavens. They're envious of the angels, perhaps, and are more comfortable praying and hanging out on stars than right here on the earth. Those who tend towards eminence have attached themselves more to earth and their body. And you see these people on the Instagram with big muscles, which is fine, which is great. Nothing wrong with that. And you think, wow, they are working their body, working. So you get maybe two sides, and it doesn't have to be an extreme, because you can have both. You can kind of be a bit, go to the gym, but also look up in the stars. You can have both. But I think this message is really to find the middle ground, not to go extreme either way. So if you spend too much time thinking about things in the physical world, that's okay. But remember the heavens, remember the mystical inner world as well. Remember there's all these aspects, these facets, these dimensions to existence and being human. But being here means being a fully embodied soul, having a human experience, is to find the balance. Find the balance between transcendence and immanence. So you can think of being grounded, being physical, and being spiritual. Finding the balance between being spiritual and physical, being in the world but not of it. And many people who relate to the term star seed are drawn towards transcendence. They want to transcend. They want to go up there to the heavens. They may be more comfortable with angels and the heavens. Life on earth can be more difficult for them because it can be confronting. The density is intense here. And if that's you, you're being reminded to choose to be a soul and a body and a soul, a body and a soul and a body, and allow that beautiful alchemy to take place and be in it, enjoy it, because we have so many dimensions to each of us, but in a primarily, or there's a duality of physicality and spirituality. Those are two sort of polarities, and you're being called to focus more of your energies on the physical world, to learn to be human, a soul in a human body. So fully present in what life is on earth and what life on earth has to offer you. So for me, I relate this to, sometimes I'm like, there's some kind of social engagement or something, and I'm like, what am I really, I'd rather just stay home and do my tasks or do my thing or relax. What do I have to gain by going out and sort of entertaining people or seeing people or gathering around people? So there is a soul inquiry here to allow a balance between the physical and the spiritual. Butterfly says, please like, share, and subscribe, everyone. Thank you. Well, thank you to Butterfly. And that is all much appreciated. Katie Newkirk, hi. Welcome to the show, Katie, and great to see you. How is your week going? Butterfly says, staying grounded and centered. And Butterfly says, starseeds normally have a difficult and challenging time on the planet. So how many of you relate to this term starseeds? Because some of you may think, no, I don't relate to that at all. And that's perfectly fine. Everyone is welcome on the show. I'm just kind of curious to get a feeling how many do relate to this, because I think Butterfly is very knowledgeable about this topic. Many of them feel disconnected and crave home. So I really relate to this term starseeds. I've always felt a little bit alien or a little bit extraterrestrial, a little bit foreign, and like kind of looking on the outside in. I was often just looking. I was just watching, and I've often just been, presence is a big thing for me. I've often just been present, and sometimes not sure what the right approach is, not sure what to say, not sure what to do. So sometimes even just not doing anything. And passivity is not necessarily the best way forward, but sometimes that's how I've been, a little bit passive. The masculine energy is performative. It's not about passivity. So the femininity is more about surrender, more about passivity, which we all have both in us, the masculine and the feminine. We're all able to dance with the masculine and the feminine. So I'm learning to be more active in the world, to put myself out there more, even to have this show, to be performing, speaking on a platform, sharing my voice, sharing this communication chakra, which was really quite unexpressed as a child. I mean, I was very hidden away, and I was devastatingly shy. As a child, I just wanted to hide away in the corner and not be seen. Marianne, I think Butterfly says I do definitely. Marianne says, would you say starseeds can feel and see the other side of physical life? Marianne, I feel we all are souls, so we all have great possibility, great potential. And I don't like to limit what that potential is, because everyone has that potential. Everyone has that capacity to see non-physical, to see spirits. A lot of people do. That doesn't necessarily make them, that they're walking on water. And different souls have different histories. So I've read various testimonies, read various books about this topic, which I find really interesting. It's souls that incarnated on other planets, and then they came to Earth. And this is quite a common pattern that I've noticed, or just I've read particular books about the topic. So it's not every soul here is necessarily from another planet, but it's a very common thing. And I would say we're all starseeds on some level. Butterfly says you're doing well with your mission, David. Thank you, Butterfly. What is that? I'm curious what that is. Some of us look to something really specific, or we look to a life purpose that is really quite narrow. And really, we're here to dance, we're here to express ourselves. It's not necessarily in this vessel or container or an idea that you can conceptualize in your mind, because when you go up dimensions, go up to the soul level, you see things in a very different way. You see life in a very different way. So it's interesting to think of yourself as a soul and think of your pre-birth interview, your pre-birth mission, your pre-birth goal, because souls are incarnated with a goal. They do have a purpose. They're kind of like, but it's not necessarily a purpose that is obvious, or like everyone's going to be famous, that it's kind of exposed in the world. You could be entirely isolated on the earth, and that's just your choice, your purpose. So it's not about some kind of grandiose idea. I think people can get quite grandiose when they start to think about my purpose. It becomes quite a lot about the ego. Like, what is my ego? What am I here to do? And it's me. And perhaps you're here to be selfless, to learn about giving to other people, surrendering your own needs, and submitting to the divine will. There's so many pathways, there's so many lessons to learn, and we are here to experience many things and learn many lessons. And some of us who've been around maybe longer than others, we're going to experience a lot of things, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of good times and bad times. And it's really because we've experienced so much that we've come to experience so much more. And can just be little quick, like have a quick job, and then, well, I've learned what that's like. What do I need to stay in that job for? Have a quick relationship. Well, I dived into there. What I need to continue to perpetuate that kind of experience. So you may find certain star seeds just have, they get the lesson really quickly, or get the skill really quickly. You don't need to keep going with that. So it is really interesting, Butterfly, when you say that I am doing well with my mission, because how do you think I'm doing well? I mean, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. It's hard for us to measure, like how well am I doing? But it's a good question to ask oneself. How well am I doing as a soul? before I came to this earth, I had a map. I set out this goal. I'm going to be born in this family, and I'm going to be born with these conditions. And have I made the best with my possibilities, with my opportunities, with what I was given? And what was I given? Like, why did I choose that? Why did I choose that pathway? Why was I handed that sort of lot in life? Why was I born male? Why are some of you born female? Because some people resist that, and they say, no, I don't want to be male. I don't feel male. I'm not male. And they resist just the basic element of their gender or their sexual orientation, perhaps. It's so interesting, the masculine, the feminine forms, and it's how people perceive what that is, because from the soul perspective, there's a neutrality, there's a sort of an aspect of wisdom that is non-emotional. With human beings, we have all these emotions swirling around, all these hormones swirling around that we don't always it's not always clear what the way to behave is. And we also judge. A lot of us are judging, well, someone just felt really angry or whatever, and that is just something being processed and moving through them. Maybe that needs to be expressed for them to let it go. So to come along and judge that, it's not really helpful. Butterfly says, you are a leader, inspiring, raising the vibration, being more vocal, touching the core of the human soul, awakening suppressed emotions, expanding human consciousness amongst others, David. Wow, Butterfly, that is a strong mission. I love that. I'm going to take a screenshot. I'm like, wow. I'm going to put that up on my wall, Butterfly. Well, truly, thank you so much for your beautiful message and for seeing me in that way. And I feel really humbled by that, but may I have the strength of inner drive, or the strength of my own convictions, the strength, just call it the strength, to be able to do those things you mentioned, touching the core of the human soul. I mean, that is a huge mission. So thank you, Butterfly. Wow. Hi, David. I'm driving at the moment, but wanted to listen. Take care. Well, great to see you. What a great privilege to have you on the show. It's early morning here, a new day. And it's always interesting because I do this in the morning. So I have the benefit of sleep, and what is one experiences during the night, one experiences during one's sleep, how that shifts and awakens us, and how we let go of emotions, and how often the unseen world becomes seen, it becomes manifest, and things that are people say, seeing underneath them, seeing even beneath the beneath. That is an interesting thing. People say things, express things that are totally antithetical sometimes to their feeling or what they desire. And I see that, for instance, an example with someone who's lonely, and they kind of have this anger with people, maybe a past relationship or family member, all this anger because they're actually lonely, they actually feel unloved, they feel this deep desire for connection with, call it a family member, and so they reach out, and the family member's busy, maybe ignores them, and then all this anger, all this rage which comes from them, of course, but underneath it is the desire for connection. So it's so interesting when you sometimes ignore what people say, and I think that's a tricky one, because sometimes you read what they say and you respond to it, you feel the emotion, or you react to it. So, which can be appropriate. We do need appropriate boundaries, but then sometimes for instance, with a family member, maybe it's a cry for help. Maybe they're just crying out for our love, and that's all. And that's also our choice to give them or not. Maybe we just walk away and say, well, that person is too toxic right now, that it's just going to drain me. People feel comfortable in your presence. They can find themselves and become more authentic. Thank you, Butterfly. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. And presence is a big topic. What is our presence? What do we bring? What do we bring to the world? That sounds like me. Yeah. Emotions are natural, and it's not to suppress our emotions, not to ignore them, not to pretend they're not there. It's to be mindful of them and to feel them and acknowledge them, let them be processed. Sometimes if you feel really angry, just go out and scream, or just I think physicality is really good, especially for emotions like anger. Just things like boxing, judo, that's a wonderful way to allow these emotions to move through one in a healthy way, so not in a destructive way. So use that force, use that energy, and maybe it drives you to go and confront something that is wrong in the world. Go and launch a campaign against pollution or something that's not helping the world. So it's in itself, it's just an energy. So it's only we can judge it, and it can be destructive depending on how that energy is expressed. Archangel Raphael is strongly connected with you, David. Also, Archangel Michael. Thank you, Butterfly. Archangel Raphael is so much the gentle healing angel, the green, the pink. I always think of green and pink with Archangel Raphael. There's always this sense of the wings, and it's a very gentle energy with Archangel Raphael. Very gentle, very graceful, very loving, and about healing, about wholeness. Archangel Michael is very wise, very almost like it's exactly to the point. He's a masculine energy, exactly to the point. But he'll strike. He has the clinical boundaries. He'll strike. It's yes, no, yes, no. It's very strong, very much about boundaries. So that's a very powerful kind of almost black and white energy, which is helpful, which can be very helpful with boundary setting, for instance, with ending a relationship, with moving on from a job, with changing one's career. All these kind of energies requiring change, requiring protection, requiring defense, requiring boundary. Like this is the point. I won't go beyond this point. So Archangel Michael has that immense power, very discerning, whereas Archangel Raphael is this lovely softness, this lovely gentleness and feminine energy. It feels lately like people promise to do something but don't follow through, meaning a lot of people lately, I get frustrated. Yeah, and it can be a bit of a short-lived sort of world where people are throwing out a lot of things and not genuinely coming through with it. And, I saw this recently with someone sending me lots of messages on Facebook, and I actually replied to their message. They sent some video, and I was like, oh, that's great that you're sharing or whatever. I haven't watched their video, so that's the truth. I think it's not so much it's because we do have time, but it's what we choose to put our own energy on, and we don't feel like watching someone's video we just don't feel like it, which is okay. It's perfectly valid. So, but I could sense that he was really frustrated, like he really wanted my attention, and I was kind of like, all right, I'll get to that. This guy, he really wants. I better get to his message. He's really calling for me. So I think also in yourself, do you promise something and don't follow through? So I think we can all learn that. Say, mean what you say, and don't say things that you don't really mean. And sometimes society, just how we conditioned, we do say things that maybe we don't truly mean authentically. Like maybe there is a balance to be found. There is a balance, but authenticity is speaking your truth, saying how it is. That's really, really helpful. Welcome to the show, Sylvie. Hello, how are you? Great to see you. And how are you doing? I really am an emotional person. I'm a bleeding heart. And that's such a beautiful quality to have. So, keep that quality. I think sometimes we get with people take advantage. When you're too soft, people can take advantage. So find the balance, find the center. And sometimes if it's too hard, call in Archangel Michael. Call in Archangel Michael to give you the boundaries, because there's something called suicidal empathy. It means basically just giving your life for other people, or giving your life for another person. So we want a more centered approach, being helpful and loving to others. Good evening, Diane. Welcome to the show, and beautiful to see you. Where are you in the world? Maybe Texas, United States energy. Interesting about the colors. I associate numbers and calendar months with specific colors in my head. Numbers and calendar months. So each month has a color. So which colors have you allocated? I'm curious how that works and how you chose each color. Like in winter, it's kind of cold, so everything blue, and then summer is like midsummer is really hot, so I would think red. But how are you thinking? I'm curious. I guess I expect things that I shouldn't. I get excited though, and don't like letdowns. Thank you, David. I best get driving. Well, you stay safe out there. I've just paid off a traffic fine. It was about $2,500. They came during a festival just for 4 days actually, but they put all this like technology. I didn't know what was going on, but anyway, I wasn't doing anything. I sort of had my hand touching my phone. It happened twice. I had this habit of just putting my hand down on the phone, and I got caught twice. So I've just paid $2,500. So what was the point about? Oh, driving, of course. So be careful out there. Oh my God, suicidal empathy is so true, or even suicidal compassion. Suicidal compassion. There's got to be a middle ground. There's got to be boundaries, and we can't keep buying into the victimhood. We've got to build people up. We've got to actually teach a man to fish. The saying, teach a man to fish. Start a school to teach people how to fish, give them the skills, give them that's real compassion. I think the government, the governments we have, they're all about handouts. Just give people all these things. And those people don't build self-confidence. They don't build themselves up. Diane says, I'm in Connecticut. Oh, amazing. Connecticut. Welcome to the show, Diane. Marianne says, I can't allow being a sponge as a highly sensitive person. It's draining. Yeah, so that is really important to acknowledge, Marianne. And for many of us, we may have that level of empathy. So to have boundaries, to learn how to be human in this world. And I'm also a highly sensitive person, so I really relate to what you said, Marianne. recognize your own feeling and recognize when you drain. That's really important. January, the colors of each month. January is white, February is pink, March is green, April purple, May is pink, June is yellow, July orange, August olive green, September orange, October black, November brown, December gray. I love this. I love this, and I'm interesting what that means. I think this is so cool. And everything in life is cycles. We just have so many cycles. It's sort of never ending. It's like we have the 24-hour day, we have the 7-day week, we have the whatever day month. It varies, and the year, of course. We have the sun is we move around the sun. We have the cycles of the weather. Summer. Yeah, you guys know what. I don't need to keep going on with the cycles. It just goes on and on. But I'm interested what each color means to you. Ascending universal butterfly, fall season is very earthy and nurturing, comforting, with self-reflection. Yeah, there absolutely are these mega trends, these energies that nature is feeding us. The energy of the sun, for instance, the energy of the moon, for instance, the masculine and the feminine, the energy of, the winter months are more internal. They're more introspective. They're more about hibernation. They're more about reflection, going within. Whereas the summer months are more external, more showing, coming out, everyone coming outside, everyone, maybe more parties, more external, expressing things. Fall season is very earthy and nurturing, comforting, and self-reflection. 5 is red. Okay, I'm leaving, but listening. Will you drive safely out there? I'm trying to relate your colors to each month. So yeah, if anyone has any ideas, I'm really, really curious about the color and the month and how that helps you digest and process each month, get the most out of each month. And perhaps there is this truth that each month has an energy, a possibility, a potentiality. It's up to us to use the energy of the month, to use it to our highest and best outcome. Use it to the best way of our abilities, the best way we can. So that is a beautiful reflection about each month. Do let me know if you have a specific color and what that means to you. And anyone else who wants to share, Andrea shared this for the algorithm. If anything, anyone knows how to apply that, like what is that? Like what does that mean, practically speaking? Like, do I put that up here, perhaps? Is that I'm gonna write it in, or is there something, or do you go into that channel and share the link? Carlos, thank you for sharing the show. Kim is probably working. I had a dream that describes about looking up in the sky, and butterflies talking about crocodiles. So I am gonna check here. I've shared this YouTube is the best channel link, so I don't know if that is doing anything, but do let me know. The foods we consume throughout the year, the different colors. So also the colors of the foods have an influence. They have a vibration. They're telling us something. The shape of the food also gives us an indication what it's good for. So nature is super intelligent. So something that looks like something else will be good for that part of us. So food is a message, and I forget what it looks like, but I studied that a little bit in nutrition, what the foods were good for, based on what they look like. So something that it's called what food looks like, nutrition, natural medicine, I think it's called law of similars, which comes from food message, what it looks, health, nutrition. So food as medicine, I think that's what it is, food as medicine. And there's this law of similars. So let thy medicine be thy food. Let thy medicine be thy food. The law of similars is so related to nutrition. Well, it's just that if something looks like something else, then it's healthy. But I'm just trying to find that, like what things look like, essentially. Maybe we'll come back to that. So what do you eat that brings you health, that brings you high vibration, brings you inspiration? So I'm going to pick another card to see what's happening in the world. Let's just think of a question now. What question can I ask? What are we not seeing? What are we not seeing right now? And anyone who wants a quick card for me to pick up, little reading, just write in the comments section. This is for you. This show is for you. So what are we not seeing? What are we not seeing about ourselves that could transform our reality? That's a question to ask, or to ask. So there's something about grounding. Once again, it seems to keep coming up. Grounding, the being of the stars, being of the world, but not of it. Being star seeds, having the cosmic ancestors, and seeding this energy on the earth. So that's a message coming through, that we're talking about life purpose before, and our purpose, being star seeds, is to stay grounded, is to bring the energy down. It's to bring our energy into the earth, not necessarily up and down, but bring it, let it be expressed in the earth. Let our beingness be expressed. Let our, in a physical world. So we embodied in this physical space, incarnated in this physical space, this 3D reality, which has a certain density, and perhaps our soul is yearning to be free, to be light as a feather, to travel instantaneously at the speed of thought. So this card is reminding us what we're not seeing, that we are an ancient keeper of the stars, and we're here to anchor in our light, to seed our light on the earth. And each of us has a unique way of doing that and being. We each have a unique soul. So we have been incarnating on earth, dedicated to an era of awakening and bringing about a long-awaited shift in the planet's evolution, which is, we're now at that tipping point where everything is coming to a head. The survival of many species, the survival of the planet, it's all sort of coming to this head. It's coming to the point where we have a choice. It's basically life or death. What are we going to choose? Are we going to choose life? Are we going to choose the sacred spirituality of life on this planet, in nature, the divine purpose seen in nature? Or are we going to construct human pollution and human ego, and keep building and building and building our own ego and structure in our minds, perhaps? So this time is about grounding. This card reminds us to be really grounded, to anchor in love on the planet, and to remember that there's nothing we have to do. Essentially, the wisdom is imprinted in our soul. So the wisdom of the soul, of the stars, is imprinted in our soul. So we have the soul fragments that we can call back home, bring them all back into your body, into the earth, imagining that falling almost like a line or a an anchor bringing us back into the earth, like seeding our energy down into the ground. So we are able to heal the earth and to raise its vibration with our intention. You can place your hands on the ground, place your hands on a tree, on a plant, sending, anchoring in light, anchoring our light, anchoring in love, and becoming stable on the earth plane. So stable, have a practice of non-reactivity, stillness. And this is our mission, to grow as a person, to allow this collective mission to happen. So it's a double purpose, to, as a human being, as our own individual soul, but as the part of the larger collective soul, to bring about a shift in frequency. So live a glorious life, keep in the heart, but ground the energy too, and allow the infinite diversity to play out, and dance with the stars, but also dance with the earth. So butterfly, can I have a reading? Open to receive. Thank you. Seeing how true. All right, so we are gonna pick a card for butterfly. All right, so I see sort of a constriction in your physical world, and it's like your soul is dancing with freedom, but there's a kind of narrowness in your conditions. I feel like it's almost like where you're living is not matching your frequency, but you're there for this purpose. But ultimately, you do need to move. So movement is coming out. Very much you're a person of balance, of coming into harmony with yourself and the world, and your purpose is about also expressed in balance. So there's such a harmony of yin and yang in you. So always remember that. Come home to this yin yang balance, this beautiful harmony. So we're going to look at the oracle cards for some destination advice, and this is reminding you to bring your alchemy into water, into the ocean, of bringing the unconsciousness to light. So there's something of the ocean, of the water, to remind you of possibility, of potential, of bringing the unconsciousness to light. So I'm just looking at this card, and let's have a look. Okay. Let me show you the card. That's lots of blue. So I'm feeling this blue energy around you, like dolphin energy, marine energy, this glorious blue. And I feel like it's like you come from this water-based planet. That's your starseed origin. And that's why you're so comfortable with the crystal clear waters, the oceans, the endless sea, it goes for miles underwater. And so this card represents the crystalline clarity of possibility, potentiality that you frequent. It's a very beautiful vibration. It's a very it's a very sort of possibility oriented orientation. You're always raising people up. You're always seeing their potential. You're always looking at them going, well, this is what they're capable of. This is what they truly are at a soul level. You look past the surface. The ocean is very much about looking past the surface level things. You're not a surface level person. The natural trait is being more like the ocean, seeing the potential, and coming from a galactic species that really was I don't know if you saw the water, the film Water World, or the Avatar. Avatar, what is it called? Water, Avatar, Ocean, Avatar. I don't know. They made an avatar that was all in the ocean, and that's kind of what I'm seeing for you. I don't know if you saw that film. I thought it was really beautiful. So this is confirming that you have this great potential. You see this great potential. You are this great potential, and it's almost like there's something that is coming to fruition, that's going to come to fruition, and it's a positive sign that things are moving forward for the highest potential of your soul, but also for all involved, and for the earth collective, the earth frequency as a whole. So this uplifting light is encouraging you. You are the bringer of harmony, contentment, and positive outcomes. And you're seeing beyond. You're seeing beyond with your consciousness. So when water appears in dreams, it's about bringing unconscious patterns to light, to remember the unconscious, and this will. So, what unconscious patterns are you ready to bring out into the light, into the open? So, there's a sort of multiple meanings in this beautiful frequency. So thank you, butterfly. Very beautiful. So I love the dolphin frequency. I have the crystalline grid around me. I love to dig as deep as possible. It resonates so much. I paint the ocean a lot. My guide is a dolphin. So this is very much back home for you, butterfly. Thank you so much. Thank you. And Marianne, a card for the next 2 weeks. So just clearing the energy. So Marianne, I'm seeing a certain web with you, a certain web relationally. So relationship based, there's a certain web around you, which I would say it's kind of like you. I don't know if you can see that card. It's very beautiful, but it's meaning that you're in a sort of interconnected web. And if you see there's you're here, there's a type of polarity, there may be some friction, I would say, around you. It's not just plain sailing. There is a divine purpose, there's a higher purpose going on, but I would call it a type of karma or karmic relationship. So you sort of entwined with other people, intertwined with other people, which isn't necessarily that's just how it is. That's the cards you've been dealt. So there's a certain sort of responsibility in that, but there's a certain constriction, I would say, that you have this thing, but it's quite interesting. It's playing out. So just observe it. Don't go with the flow with it. And remember the next couple of weeks, remember to nurture your creativity. Remember to nurture your creativity. So keep watering the seed of creativity within you. So I know that you embroider, you're very busy with that. So that's just keep going with that. I also get the angel of balance. So this next 2 weeks, call in the angel of balance and bring keep that harmony within you. All right, so Butterfly says, thank you so much for the fabulous reading, David. And thank you, Butterfly, for being online and sharing so much for me. So thank you for your reading, and I really loved that. It was very inspiring for me, very inspiring. So thank you, Butterfly. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe before the show closes. Thank you, and let me know what topics you would like me to discuss. I can always go through different topics and share different concepts. And also, I made a couple of YouTube videos. Yesterday, I turned it pause by mistake, and I didn't know what was going on. So I haven't even shared it yet. I'm just going to share the whole video. But I am starting to share a bit more. Marianne says, aren't we all in some way? Very true, Marianne. Aren't we all in some way? We're talking about connected and karmically connected. Butterfly says, it has been a very interesting show. Thank you, David. And you were part of that interesting show, Butterfly. You were a big part of it, so thank you. And Marianne says, makes sense. Thank you. So, I was talking a bit about presence. I was on YouTube actually yesterday talking a little bit about presence, and it's a topic I'm really interested in exploring more and bringing this energy into my therapy work, my world. Something I do already, is just something that some people are not quite aware of, the gift of presence, the gift of presence to other people, which is being there. It's not talking, it's not saying anything, it's just being there, sharing your presence. There's not a right or a wrong way to be. So your being that's just sharing your presence. And when you sort of, as a therapist, sometimes you're looking for the right thing to say, but sometimes less is more. The less said, the better. You don't need to always say something. People suffer, and they need to get things off their chest, and it needs to be heard. Sometimes the processing happens in the silence, and happens in the stillness, and happens in the moments between words. And sometimes there is an unfolding that comes from a safe space. Master Eckhart called that space the eternal now. In Buddhist terminology, especially Chinese Mahayana, there's the concept of the sunyata, which is translated in different ways. You can think of it as the eternal void. A lot of people translate it into English as emptiness. Be that as it may, you can think of it more as a void. Now, this planet definitely is a fertile void. And you think of outer space, some places maybe it may just be a vacuum or mostly void, not a big, not necessarily fertile. But I like this concept, Master Eckhart, the eternal now. Ramana Maharshi, he used to say, be still and know, be still and know. And I like these kind of terms, be still and know. So I'm going to end the show with remembering these words and taking a moment to recall the silence, that God is in the silence, that the spiritual is the language of God. The silence is the language of God. Well, Rumi actually said that. Rumi said the silence is the language of God. So remember the silence. Butterfly says a presence can totally change the atmosphere in a room without a single word spoken. And when you say one word, you plant a seed in the vibration. It's like dropping that idea, dropping the concept, just like forgiveness. We don't need all the clutter around that, all the verbiage. We can just say love. Or we can just look with the eyes of love at other people, with the eyes of compassion, with the heart of compassion into their eyes, into their soul. And you look at someone, not just seeing them, but looking beyond, seeing their soul. Kim says, thank you for the lovely show. Thank you so much for lending your presence, for sharing your presence, Kim, for supporting the show. And we have a beautiful message. Thank you so much. And love to Florida. That's beautiful. All right, so everyone, it's been a loving delight and pleasure being with you today, and much joy, bliss, and happiness out to you. If you do know anyone that can benefit from these teachings from the show, please do share the show. It's on live every week at the same time. If anyone's in need of more assistance, more help, I do one-on-one sessions as well, which is by the heal.me app. So there is a booking link. I am in the heal.me app. So it's a beautiful app. And I'm offering those sessions always on the heal.me app, and we can always align a moment, a time that works for you. So see you all on the other side. Big love, big heart to you. Be still and know.